Now, as I've said before, there are lots of nice bends that are sort of scattered around the 5 shapes, half steps and whole steps. So whatever shape you're in, just be aware of where you can bend, you know. Because you get that lovely singing vibrato, that lovely sound of soaring lead melody, you know, and you can experiment. If you were going to play, for example, if you were going to play G and A to B inside the root position, you could experiment bending, sliding, slurring from above or below, you know. There's so many different ways. So many different ways to play a note. So be aware of that as well. Be aware of not only the notes you choose, but the way you attack them with the pick. You know, with your fingers. You know, the attack of the pick. Do you want it to be really heavy and in your face? Or do you want it to be much more subtle? You know, I mean, there's even the angle of the pick and where you pick on the string. You know, there's so many different tonal choices. You know, which pickup are we on? I mean, that's a whole nother course. But anyway, so just be aware of those things. And also, a big one to be aware of, and this goes back to my love of saxophone players, is rhythm. And to prove this point, try this over one of the backing tracks. Just take 3 notes, okay? So I'm going to take, let's say, D, E, and G, right? Now, if I play one of those notes as a long note and the other 2 as a short note, that immediately gives me a phrase. There's a phrase. Right, see, and immediately I started doing the question-answer thing I just mentioned, because this inspired a gap and then an answer, right? And that's only because I chose to play that first note long. Now, what if I chose to play the last note, so the D and the E short, but the G long? Now, to me, that already has a different feel. It almost got a little bit country or southern rock to me as soon as I heard it. So, I don't know why, it just kind of sounded like that. But again, this is the point. Just by playing the same 3 notes and changing the rhythmic emphasis or the duration of one of those 3 notes, it inspired a different kind of feel. And if I really followed that through, a whole solo could build from that, just by changing, you know, the time I spent on the 3rd note. And then, so if we've done the first and the third as long, now make the second one long, right? Now that sounds more bluesy. See, to me that goes in another direction again. So you can take such a simple idea as I'm going to play 3 notes only and vary the rhythm, vary the duration. I mean, rhythmically as well. Like, what if I went... Or maybe I went... Or maybe I went... See, I mean, there's so many rhythmic variations you could do to that. And one thing you'll hear saxophone players do a lot is stay on the same note. Right? And guitar players, for whatever reason, at least a lot of guitar players I hear, we don't tend to want to do that. We don't tend to want to stay on one note and sort of milk the rhythm of it. And maybe it's just because the way the guitar lays out as a physical instrument, but That's a cool thing too, especially if you're playing with a drummer and a bass player, because that one note, you can really lock in with the pocket and have some fun with that. So just try to think of all these things as overall concepts whenever you improvise, whether you're using the major scale or not. But in the context of our 5 shapes, be aware of the bends, half-step bends, try picking 3 notes out of one of the shapes and try those phrasing ideas with rhythm. And just try to keep all these things in your mind and try to keep your ears open as you improvise.